Hey guys, how are you? I'm just answering an email that was put to me by a guy named, I'll call him Peter. Well, that's his name, it's Peter. He was wondering whether or not he should use WordPress for his business site and therefore get a dedicated hosting plan dedicated to WordPress, or should he build from scratch and build a website from scratch. And he puts the question to me, what would you do in my place? So to round it up again, he has a small business idea he wants to put together. I mean, he's very busy. He's learning all kinds of stuff. He's wondering whether he should build from scratch or put it in a WordPress site. Well, if you are building a content-specific site where it's you and maybe one other author, two other authors, 99% of the time, I would say just go for WordPress site, because WordPress, which is a content management system, used to be a blog, but now it's a full content management system. And if you don't know, it's a system that allows you to easily put up websites, add new articles and videos and documents. And the thing about WordPress, it has this whole ecosystem around it, so you can have plugins that make it easy for you to do e-commerce and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So many small businesses use WordPress for that reason. It just simplifies the process of updating and maintaining your website. Now, you could argue there's a little bit more work in the beginning because you got to install WordPress. That takes all of 2 minutes, and then you got to learn WordPress, which it's not that hard, to be honest. If you just learn how to run WordPress, it's kind of like we're using a word processor, a little bit more. WordPress can get more complex if you're putting in different capabilities like plugins and stuff like that. But that's a whole different issue. But even then, it's worth it, because dropping in a WordPress site where you might want to have comments and under your articles is like it's built right into WordPress. Is easy. You can add plugins that have all kinds of functionality to make adding things like e-commerce or social media feeds easy. Now you have to be careful. You got to do your research. You got to know which plugins are good, which aren't. The plugins can be a source of vulnerability to the site to get it hacked, so you got to be careful about that. But that being said, WordPress is much more solid than it used to be, that's for sure. And as long as you keep it updated, and with modern WordPress, it updates itself. If you just set it, update yourself, it'll update itself. So you should be okay. And if you got a decent hosting company, they'll do daily automatic backups of your database, and so that everything is backed up just in case you get hacked. And you should back up your site, your whole site, I don't know, whatever. If you're doing changes, if you're not doing major changes once a month, back up the whole thing, really, just to be safe. If you're doing regular changes, you might want to set up something called cron job on your server that will back up everything. If you have a cPanel, which is a very common control panel for web hosting, then you'll be able to set this up automatically. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So yes, if you're starting a small business and you're trying to decide whether you should use a WordPress site and build it or build a website from scratch, I would say most of the time use a WordPress site, because once it's in place, boy, it's going to make your life so much easier. Do you need hosting that is dedicated WordPress hosting? I don't really think so. I think any standard hosting with cPanel or any control panel, whether it be cPanel or Plesk, and there are others out there, it will make it really easy to install WordPress even without a control panel. But excuse me, let me back up. If you got a small business website and you're doing your own hosting, you better have a control panel like cPanel, and they all do. It's not a big deal. And so you don't need dedicated WordPress hosting, because there's nothing special about that really, because any standard hosting with a control panel like Plesk or cPanel will have one-click WordPress installs. And even if they don't, to download and install WordPress through your web hosting control panel is really not that difficult, and you're up and running, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. And just in case you're wondering, WordPress, the app itself, is really just a bunch of PHP pages with HTML pages and CSS and some JavaScript in there, and it's just a PHP app really. And PHP apps are just a bunch of pages of code, and you upload those pages to your web server, your web hosting account, just like you would upload HTML pages. Except with WordPress, you're uploading PHP pages. So there you go. I hope that helps. Ciao, ciao. Just a quick addition to this vlog. So I just did my very first hot yoga class, literally in a couple of years, 2-3 years maybe. I'm ashamed to say. And I say I'm ashamed to say because when I was doing yoga, I did it for about 1.5 years solid, which for me, relative to my martial arts, it's like a minuscule amount of time. But in that time when I was doing the yoga, I never felt so good. It, like, in terms of like just physically, it feels just great because it really strengthens and stretches and relaxes you. And you'll be amazed at how improved your cardio is going to be when you do yoga. I know that sounds counterintuitive. How could sitting around doing poses in yoga improve your cardio? Remember, the cardiovascular system is not just your heart; it's the efficiency of all the muscles and everything. So hot yoga will improve your cardio. Let me tell you, unbelievably. You'd be surprised. It will take 4 or 5 months before you start really seeing the effects, but it's pretty crazy. And the great thing about yoga is it doesn't damage any of your joints, doesn't wear them down, you won't twist your ankle, you won't hurt your knees. It's really, really a great exercise. So I just did it today, and let me tell you, though I've been biking around a lot, and I do like my hanging from my tree to open up my spine and so forth, I'm not in good shape, man. Let me tell you, when it comes to like doing yoga, woof, it really tired me out. So I went to yoga, and I was fasting. But then I went by a chicken rib place, so I just bought some ribs. I couldn't resist. My friend was buying ribs, so I bought some ribs. No potatoes, no coleslaw, just ribs. So low calorie, really. And so I got home, I had my ribs, and then between the yoga and the ribs, it just wiped out. But I feel pretty relaxed. So when's the next time I should do yoga? My body will tell me. My body will tell me. People who have these ideas that you should do something 2 times a week or 3 times a week or 4 times a week, everybody's different. Your body may just need 5 times a week. It may need 2 times a week. Who knows? Let your body tell you. So when my body doesn't feel sore, when it feels relaxed and not sore, then I'll go back to yoga. Because when the body is sore, when you feel sore, that's your brain saying to you, hey, we're still working on the repairs to the muscles. So there you go. Part of what I talk about in this channel is the importance of being healthy, physically healthy. For me, that means drinking lots of water, cutting down as much as I can sugars and breads, and eating lots of greens and meat. I eat a lot of meat, but lots of greens. I have blood issues, so I have to eat red meat every so often. Otherwise, I become totally bagged out. So there you go. I hope this is useful. Ciao, bye.